Hello, this is Mari Grande, and it is May, stage 5 of the Mari Mandala, and change is in the air. So let me say a bit more about this. So first of all, welcome to May, the 5th month of the year, and to stage 5 of the great round of the Mari Mandala. And I've been sitting with this stage and noticing how different it feels from stage 4. Stage 4 is about emerging. Stage 5 feels like assertion. Not loud necessarily, not forceful for the sake of force, but a clear sense of self, a growing awareness of what needs protecting, preserving, and tending. When I think of stage 5, I think of that moment when something in us begins to know itself as distinct. There's a deep instinct here around self-preservation, self-protection, and self-defense. It's the beginning of recognizing in a more conscious way what is mine, what matters to me, what belongs to me, and what does not. In the Mari, stage 5 is called the target. And I find that name so evocative. It holds both focus and vulnerability. There are times in the stage when I can feel more centered and clear, more aware of patterns, rhythms, and rules. And I can sense better what is for me and what is not. But I also know this stage can bring an awareness of exposure. Sometimes it feels like being seen. Sometimes it feels like being under pressure. Sometimes both. And you too may be feeling any of these. That as I tell you more about stage 5, just notice what resonates. If there's any ahas there. And what is really special about this stage is that it's so human. Stage 5 is human. As adults, this stage can show up in subtle ways, but powerful. You may want more alone time. You may feel drawn to a ritual or routine that helps you feel steady. You may become more protective of your energy, your time, or things that are nurturing you in your life. I certainly do. And there's often a distinct or desire here to create a container, something that helps hold what is forming. Stage 5 is also associated with the explorer. And I love that pairing because this stage is not only about defense, it's about movement, freedom, curiosity, expansion, adaptability. There's something in us that wants to reach outward and discover, while another part is learning what creates safety and integrity. And that tension feels very real to me. The wish to explore and the need to protect, and the impulse to expand and the necessity of boundaries. Like every stage of the Mari, this one has both light and shadow. Since the Mari draws from Jungian thought, I always come back to the understanding that the shadow is not something bad. It's simply what has been pushed away, ignored, hidden. It lives in the dark, but it does not disappear. It waits. It asks for attention. I think that is part of what makes stage 5 so profound. It asks us to become more discerning, but also more honest. What am I defending? What am I avoiding? What am I protecting because it's precious? What am I protecting because I'm afraid? To me, this stage often feels like a search for a center. There's a movement here away from the paradise of the unconscious, more in stage 4, toward autonomy, towards separateness, towards being in a relationship with what is outside of us, with the other, with the world. And that's no small thing. It's part of development. It can also feel tender and disorienting. There is a loss in it, and there is growth. I think that's why this stage can express itself in so many different ways. Some people may feel more defended here, more disciplined, more drawn to order, precision, and control. Or some people may feel the pressure of expectations, their own or others, and longs to simply be. Some may become more ritualistic, more attached to what is familiar, and more overwhelmed by change. And I can understand all of it. All of these responses are intelligent efforts to stay connected with oneself while something important is shifting. And the mythological associations with stage 5 are the witch and the magician. And I find that deeply resonant. There's something ritualistic, transformative, and even alchemical about this stage. I often think of the alchemist's vessel. It's sealed tightly where pressure builds in the service of transformation. And that image helps me. It reminds me that pressure is not always a sign that something is wrong, but some pressure is part of becoming. Growth can feel beautiful, but it can also feel vulnerable. Stage 5, we see something as breaking ground. Something in us has come out into form. It's no longer hidden in the same way. And because it's more vulnerable, as it becomes more visible, it needs protection. And that feels very important to me because we're not defending ourselves here simply out of fear. We may be protecting what is still tender, what's still taking shape, what's not yet ready to be handled carelessly. In this stage, we protect what we are becoming. And I also appreciate the 5th month numerologically. It carries a similar meaning because in numerology, the number 5 is associated with the explorer, with freedom, with curiosity and transition and movement. So that mirrors stage 5 beautifully. There can be escapism here, restlessness, which reminds me that every gift has its shadow. And the invitation here is not to judge, but to notice it with compassion. And for me, May and stage 5 ask this gentle but powerful question: what is asking for my protection right now? And not everything needs to be pushed. Not everything needs to be shared too soon. Some things need time. Some things need boundaries. And actually, behind me, there is a mandala that represents a stage 5. So as you can see, there's many boundaries, many borders, and there is some movement, but it's basically, it's a focus, it's a target type of image. And some things that are still forming, they need boundaries, and they need a ritual. They need patience, and they need care. And maybe that's part of the wisdom of this stage, to become more aware of what is mine to tend, more honest about what I'm ready for, and more willing to create the conditions that support real transformation. And May asks me to honor what is emerging by protecting it with love. What is emerging in you that is asking for protection with love? Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful month.